Everything seemed to have started in the 1600s. So let's start there. Let's start at the colonies, which were filled with poor British laborers. Are they called Europeans, y'all? Let's see. Many of them were indentured servants, and they also had enslaved Africans. These groups worked together, lived together, and even married each other. They shared similar conditions and had similar chances of success once freed. There was no white or black identity as we know it today, just people trying to survive. Oh, but then came Bacon's Rebellion in 1776. You see, this was a massive uprising of both African and European laborers against the colonial elite. This rebellion terrified the hell out of the ruling class. They realized a united labor force was a threat to their power. So they devised a strategy. It's called divide and conquer. And we still haven't caught on yet. They began passing laws that separated African laborers from European ones, not just socially, but legally. In 1664, Maryland passed a law punishing British women who married enslaved African men by enslaving the women and their children. Then in 1661, they changed the language. For the first time, they used the term white to describe people. This was the birth of whiteness as a legal category. Now let me tell you a secret. Recessive genes reside in whiteness. Dominant genes resides in blackness. From there were a flood of laws followed. Free black people were banned from owning weapons, testifying against whites, holding public office, or marrying white people. Meanwhile, white laborers, although still poor, were granted basic rights and protections. The elite didn't lift them up economically, and they still don't. But they gave them symbolic power, a sense of superiority over black and native people. And that's the same power that they feel today, even though they pulled them up. They created a new social ladder. At the top were the elite landowners, the billionaires. In the middle were the white laborers, now legally distinct and privileged. And at the bottom, the pit, were black and native people stripped of rights and dignity. The pit became the birthplace of a new identity for African Americans, one forged in trauma, exclusion, and resistance. I don't know about all this African American and all of that. I think y'all gone crazy, you know. All I know is everybody's supposed to be from Africa. And the Middle East, the middle of what? You're still on African rock, tectonic plates. So I wanted to start off by telling you I wanted to share this story with you. But I had to read that first because, see, I don't understand this race stuff. See, white folks always telling me everything about race. See, this category of white is not a natural or biological reality, but a legal and a social invention. And they've been inventing stuff ever since they got here and in Africa. And who is they? That's status quo. See, this story, although it begins in the colonial America in the 1600s, where they want us to believe that that's where history starts, it helps us understand why America still struggles with white supremacy and why African Americans continue to face systemic challenges. let's start with a bold but historically accurate statement. White people did not exist before 1681. That's not to say Europeans didn't exist, but the label white as a legal and social category was invented by colonial lawmakers in Maryland and Virginia. It was created not to describe biology, but to divide laborers, protect elite interests, and build a racial hierarchy that persists today. And to tell you the truth, although we may be dark and have dominant genes, we act like our minds got recessive minds because we haven't caught on, and I don't care what they do, to the fact that divide and conquer. You see, unification is the one thing that they fear. But let's fast forward. 1790, when the first U.S. Congress passed the Naturalization Act, declaring that only white people could become citizens. How now? This law remained in effect until 1952. It excluded Africans, Chinese, Japanese, Filipinos from citizenship, property ownership, political participation. It ensured that white people had access to land, jobs, power, while others remained cheap, dependent labor. These laws weren't just about economics, they were about shaping how people saw themselves and each other. Whiteness became a tool of division, a badge of privilege, and a weapon of exclusion. And blackness became a label of inferiority, criminality, and dispossession. Even today we see the legacy of such these laws in our institutions. We don't have institutions, we got prisons, we got plantations, but you call them institutions of higher learning, housing and policing and politics. All of that stuff is just another name for white supremacy. You see, white supremacy isn't about individual prejudice. No, it's more hideous than that. It's embedded in the very structure of American society. We have to recognize the truth. Race was invented to divide us, and whiteness was constructed to maintain power. So how do you dismantle a system like that? That upholds divisions and builds new ones based on shared humanity, cultural values, and justice. Imagine a society where white supremacy is no longer embedded in our laws, our schools, our neighborhoods, our minds. Just imagine what a free world is. And that's a sad thing to say, when you can't even imagine a free world. But you walk around here like you in one. We got young boys say they committing suicide. I can't see it because it looks like some old behavior. Why would they have to use a rope? If there was one white child that was hung on a tree, it would be somebody murdered him, and there would be people in the streets. But it's a black person, a black young man, our young men, and we still sitting down here drinking beer and doing whatever you want to do like ain't nothing happening. Well, there's no more freedom of speech. You think it's a free world? Go to the wrong place at the wrong time. You'll find out how free you are. I know you want to hear what I got to say. The truth hurts. That's why I have to tell it.